How's it going, guys? So week 2 of the PUDL is finally upon us, and today we are going to be facing the Roaring Tides. First things first, there will be a timestamp down in the description below, which should hopefully pop up on the playhead. So if you guys aren't interested in this quick team breakdown, you guys can go ahead and skip straight into the battle. Second thing, also down in the description will be a link to the Discord server where this draft is being held at. If you guys are interested in Draft League, by all means, I highly recommend joining. All slots are currently filled for both the Wi-Fi and Showdown division, but come DLC 2, there's going to be a lot of open slots. So I highly recommend getting in early and kind of reserving a spot here. Looking at their team, I absolutely love their draft team. There's a lot to like. There's nothing to dislike. There's a couple mons that I'm indifferent about, but even still, they are not bad mons in their own right. When preparing for this draft, the first thing I looked at, and I'm pretty sure each and every single one of you guys also looked at, is going to be this combination of Sneasler plus Rillaboom. We all know what this combination does, right? Rillaboom sets up the alley-oop, and Sneasler just dunks it in for the win. It's not Sneasler just carrying this pair. Rillaboom is a fantastic mon in its own right. Grassy terrain support is always valuable. It has really good utility with stuff like Bulldoze plus Drum Beating for speed control. U-turn is a valuable pivoting option. Knockoff to remove items. It also got its priority move in Grassy Glide back, so that's always wonderful. And this thing can always just launch a very powerful nuke in Woodhammer. Sneasler, we all know what Sneasler does. This mon's going to come in Grassy Terrain with Grassy Seed, get its +1 defense boost, get its Unburden boost, and if it ever gets up a Swords Dance, it can very easily either close out a game or just win on spot. So this is a pair that I'm going to have to definitely keep in check and mitigate and make sure they don't get too out of hand. What I love about their draft is that their offense does not begin and end with that pair. They have a lot of very hard-hitting mons. Enamorous and Glacier are two very bulky mons as well, so they're very easily able to take a hit and dish it back. Glacier is going to be one of their Terra captains, with it being able to Terra Ice, Fire, Fighting. Much like the two, Magnezone is a slow bulkish mon that can absolutely hit like a truck. But unlike the two, its speed tier isn't the worst, so it's able to really compensate for that with something like a Choice Scarf. Hisuian Goodra here is a really cool mon, right? Very unique typing. It can easily force mind games with stuff like Illusion. So I always have to think twice about clicking a move whenever that thing's out, if that thing ever comes into the battle. And it has really powerful stabs, really good coverage, and some pretty nice options like Trick and Taunt to go ahead and annoy the hell out of me. In terms of defenses here, their defensive backbone is also really good, and especially into my team. Hisuian Goodra has a really good time up against me just because, again, it's able to easily live a hit, especially with the standard max HP, max force attack AV set. It has wonderful coverage, and I truly do mean that. It can hit the entirety of my team for super effective damage with its coverage, anywhere from Earthquake to Heavy Slam to Flamethrower to Thunderbolt to Draco Meteor, right? This thing has it all. Showdown here is a very effective Wish passer. Again, Wish, Protect. This thing also gets access to Scald, so that can annoy the hell out of my team. And none of my mons want to eat a Scald, whether it be because they're going to be crippled by it or because that constant chip is going to be annoying and also eliminates any benefit I would get from Grassy Terrain healing. It also has access to Flip Turn, so again, easy Wish. It can easily absorb a hit and then Flip Turn out and just Wish Pass into something. It Wish Passes into something like a Hisuian Goodra, brings it back to life. That's incredibly annoying and an incredibly dangerous thing to be aware of. Moltres here with its Fire Flying and defensive profile. Fire Flying typing and its defensive profile also has a fairly good time into my team. It's able to stuff a good majority of my team, but I am easily able to threaten it back with something like my Glamora. It's going to be really dependent on how it's played, but again, this can potentially be a very fantastic mon. And to go ahead and round out their draft, they have two fairly good utility mons. These are the two mons I'm somewhat indifferent about, but even still, they are not bad mons at all. Gligar has some really nice stuff like access to hazards and stealth rocks. It does have Toxic. It has a fairly good ability. It also has knockoff and stuff like that, and is fairly bulky in its own right. With Weirder here, it does have a 105 special and physical attack, so going to be a little bit difficult to tell what kind of set it is if it does come. It also has some really nice support options like Light Screen and Trick Room. Its coverage is also pretty good too as well. So we definitely have our work cut out for us once again for week 2, but the very first mon that we're going to be talking about today is going to be Glimmora. Very similar build to what I brought last week. In terms of move pool, we are going to be exchanging Stealth Rocks for Spikes. In testing, I couldn't reliably knock off the Moltres' heavy duty boots, so Stealth Rocks weren't doing the most amount of work for me. I found Spikes to be a more consistent option just because we'll be getting guaranteed 12% on any grounded mons, whereas Stealth Rock always has a bit of kind of fluctuates in ranges, whether it be from the Sneasler taking like I believe 6%, same thing with the Hisuian Goodra, and Enamorous can be potentially taken up to 25%, and then other things can be taken up to 12%, right? With Spikes, and if it's grounded, we're gonna be doing a constant 12% minimum, and if we get the 3 layers up, then absolutely fantastic. Once again, Sludge Wave, Power Gem, and Earth Power hit the entirety of his team for super effective to neutral damage. So this mon is going to be very difficult for my opponent to swap into. We're going to be heavily invested into HP and enough bulk so that any move that Moltres wants to go for does basically 0 damage, and we turn a Specs Shadow Ball from Hisuian Zoroark into a 3-hit KO with the amount of bulk we have here. We have just enough special attack investment to cross that 300 threshold, so we can be firing off really hard-hitting moves here, right? And we have just enough speed to go ahead and outpace a minimally speed invested Moltres. So Moltres uninvested speed hits 216, and sometimes if I don't want to say if you're lazy about it, but even sometimes the suggested set when you plug everything into Showdown, we'll have about 8 speed EVs and hit about 219. So we just have enough speed to go ahead and outpace that, and that is going to be the benchmark of a good amount of my draft here, right? Outspeeding minimal speed investment Moltres. Rillaboom here. Rillaboom has a fantastic time into a good amount of his team. There's not a whole lot of close combat plus Rock Tomb switches. Bullet Seed here is just for the Vaporeon, and so is the Covert Cloak. In testing, Vaporeon was incredibly annoying with it being able to fire off Scald. None of my mons here, even the 2 mons I've showed here do not appreciate Scald, whether it be because of the damage or the potential side effects. So we have Covert Cloak here. We're able to fairly easily sponge up a soak, threaten it back with a Bullet Seed, or we can kind of choose predict if we want to, right? Moltres is somewhat of a safe swap in. They do have to fear Rock Tomb, which I am carrying, but even still, right? If I have Rillaboom in on the Vaporeon, it puts me in a really good position. Even still, right? Although I don't have it, I am also threatening Spore, so that's something my opponent definitely has to factor in. Up next is Hatterene. Hatterene here is once again just a dedicated hazard denier. Their only form of hazards are going to be Stealth Rock from the Gligar, so I'm perfectly content with bringing the Hatterene in on the Gligar 100% of the time to deny hazards. I really want to play on a clean field on my side and stack up on theirs. Because of how good Sneasler plus Rillaboom is, I do expect that pair to be coming each and every single week, and this week is no different. So because of that, we are going to be rocking Grassy Seed. This is a fairly standard spread, OU spread in Hatterene. Typically the 52 special attack EVs would be placed into speed, but I don't really see a need to be outspeeding much. So I decided to go ahead and put them in special attack. Calm Mind, Mystical Fire, Psyshock, Draining Kiss. Really good coverage here. Hits the entirety of his team for super effective to neutral damage. Once again, no stored power just because of how much of a wall Hisuian Goodra is. While I can easily muscle past the Magnezone, if I do have stored power, Hisuian Goodra, especially with the standard AV set, that thing is going to hold strong. So Psyshock actually gets me more value and more damage from that. So that's why it's there, and that's why we don't have stored power. Fourth, we have Cinder Achi. I am so glad that this thing finally gets its debut match. I absolutely love this mon. This mon was my round 1 pick. This is my guy. This is my boy, for any of you guys know. We're going to be rocking with the standard bulky pivot set. Initially, those 68 defensive EVs were put into attack to get me at a nice 100 attack EVs, but I found out in testing that an adamant Sneasler to close combat has the range, has the potential to kill me from about 90%. That's something I did not like at all. Just because even something like a Rillaboom Grassy Glide can put me into that range, and while I can pick up that KO, Sneasler can come out and easily pick up the KO and revenge kill me. So instead, put them into defense, and that gave me a lot more of a cushion, so I feel comfortable going for something like a Powerball, or even threatening a Willow, or just pivoting out into something like my Golden Go. Oh, spoilers. But yeah, again, just gives me a good cushion to work with. In terms of speed, we are never going to be faster than the Sneasler. They can speed creep me, and even still, if they ever get the Unburden boost, all those speed EVs are not going to matter. So the only important thing we have to outpace is going to be the Hisuian Zoroark. So that's where we get the extra EVs, so I can go ahead and fit into the defense. We're going to be rocking with Powerball, Low Kick, U-Turn, and Swords Dance. We're rocking with Low Kick over High Jump Kick. Again, just because the Hisuian Zoroark there, we don't want to be taking 50% HP off rip. Even if they swap into it, right, predicting it, that can be potentially very disastrous. Nothing on this team really wants to go ahead and swap into Powerball. Yes, he does have the Vaporeon, but we do have the Breloom as a very free swap in, and yes, he does have the Moltres, but once again, that allows us to bring in our Glimmora and start stacking in on him. Even still, if I'm low enough and put into Blaze range and I actually have a Swords Dance, I can fairly easily muscle past them, which is incredibly interesting and incredibly insane to think about from Cinderace. That's why I absolutely love this mon. This mon is full of surprises, and even with minimal attack investment, this thing can still put in the work. Low Kick here is going to be threatening the Hisuian Goodra with the 2-hit KO, but if I get a Swords Dance, it's going to be an OHKO. Powerball can easily kill the Rillaboom, the Hisuian Zoroark, 2-hit KO the Enamorus, 1-hit KO the Magnezone and the Glastrier pre-Terra, and do really good damage into everything else here. Fairly standard here, absolutely love it. Yeah, fairly standard, absolutely love its matchup into this week, so that's why he's here. Second to last is Golden Go. Initially, I had much like last week, I had a full HP max defense Golden Go, but again, in testing, did not really like it too much. It was a little bit slow, so stuff like Rillaboom can really threaten it with like Stomping Tantrum. While it's not going to be doing the most amount of damage, it does put me into unfortunate ranges with something like the Sneasler, and without this special attack investment, I'm just not able to keep up with it. So I decided to go ahead and dial back the bulk and actually put a lot of it back into special attack. And once again, the benchmark for speed in this draft match is going to be 220, just enough speed to outpace minimally speed invested Moltres. So if I ever do trick, I won't be completely boned by the Moltres, and I'll still have a decent speed tier into a good amount of his team here. Dual stabs, again, they hit everything super hard, and then Side Shock is just for the Sneasler. Both my stabs here are going to be a 2-hit KO, I believe. Make It Rain probably like a 3-hit KO just because of the special attack drops. But yeah, again, that allows the Sneasler to go ahead and actually get up a Swords Dance and go ahead and kill me of anything. So Side Shock is here just because it OHKOs no matter what kind of HP investment you have. So that's always nice. Trick. Scarf Trick here is a little bit interesting. With this speed, we don't outpace the Hisuian Zoroark, unfortunately, but again, I don't exactly need it to. I do have my Glimmora, which can very easily tank a Spec Shadow Ball, which is a 3-hit KO once again. So I don't have much qualms there. Other than that, it outruns the entirety of his team with Scarf. And if I ever get up a trick off of something like the Enamorus, like the Hisuian Goodra, the Vaporeon, or the Moltres, any single one of those mons can be easily crippled. And again, especially his defensive options, if I can cripple one of those, my team just opens up so much more, and that's such a valuable thing to have, right? Hisuian Goodra restricting that mon into one move is incredibly valuable. Restricting Vaporeon into just getting up a Wish or just throwing out a Scald is incredibly valuable. Restricting Moltres into just clicking U-turn or clicking a Will-O-Wisp is incredibly valuable here, right? So the more we can try to limit our opponent's defensive counterplay to our team, the better, and that's why Trick is here. And lastly, we have Choice Banded Dragonite. So last week, Dragonite took on more of a defensive role, but here we are going to be showing its full power. Choice Banded is going to be doing some big Demoglios into the entirety of his team. The only thing that can even think about eating an Outrage is obviously going to be the Enamorous because of its Fairy typing, and only defensive Magnezones can think about coming in on an Outrage and barely surviving here, right? Offensive variants are going to be 2-hit KO'd, which is absolutely insane to think about, and everything else is going to be a solid 1-hit KO or 2-hit KO. Ice Spinner here just in case I ever need to Ice Spinner here just in case I ever need to hit the Enamorous for super effective damage or also get rid of the Grassy Terrain, so something like the Sneasler can come in. Earthquake here just in case the Grassy Terrain has ended and I'm freely able to go for it, and Rillaboom is down, and Extreme Speed obviously of course is here to go ahead and pick off any weakened things, mainly the Sneasler. So I'm really just going to be looking for each and every single game. No, I'm really going to be looking for this game to take care of the Enamorous if it does come fairly early on, and take care of the Moltres if it does come fairly early on. Those are the two biggest obstacles. Again, Enamorous because of its fairy typing, and Moltres because of its Flame Body ability. We do not want to be getting a burn just because we do not have Healing Wish on the Hatterene. So if we get a burn, that thing is here to stay, which is going to be quite unfortunate for us, but even still, right? This Mon is going to be our MVP hopefully for this match because there are very little swap-ins. This draft team, my opponent's draft team, is incredibly strong and incredibly well built, and it put a lot of stress on me in the team builder just because there's a lot of annoying and very flexible and interesting counterplay to what I wanted to do. This team went through a lot of variation, so I am very happy at the final product I landed on, and hopefully we can come out with the win. But the Roaring Tides are an incredibly powerful squad, and I am not going to underestimate them. I'm not going to underestimate them. I'm going to do my best to mitigate their defensive counterplay. I'm going to do my best to mitigate the effectiveness of Sneasler plus Rillaboom, and I'm hopefully going to come out with a win, right? If anybody can do it, it's the boys, the squad. I believe in our guys to come out once again, week 2, finish it off with a dub, and be moving on to week 3. With all that being said, right, there is only one way to find out, and I will see you guys there. How's it going, everybody? Week 2 is finally here, and today we are going to be facing the Roaring Tides. Very powerful team here, as you guys may have noticed in the team breakdown here, right? A lot of key powerful threats, a lot of good defensive mons, and very interesting here, right? I definitely expected the Sneasler and the Rillaboom. Definitely expected the Hisuian Goodra and expected the Enamorous. What I did not expect was the Glacier, or I kind of expected the Hisuian Zoroark. Figured it had a strong possibility of coming. There's a couple other things that I thought would have, but for the most part here, everything is to be expected. Let's see if I can come out with the dub. First things first, Cinderace looks pretty strong here, right? Just fires Fireball and everything. Nothing really wants to switch into that. Golden Gold can look really strong here, especially once the Hisuian Goodra is taken care of. Glimmora looks decent, so do my Spikes. Very surprised that Moltres did not come. That's very surprising to me here, right? I'm not sure if it was just a little too passive for my opponent, but either way here, feel decently comfortable just going into here. Interesting. Wonder if that's the actual Hisuian Zoroark or if it's something else here. We are just gonna go for a Fireball off rip. Again, with the Hisuian Zoroark, there's always a little bit of mind games here, so don't exactly have the most comfortable of switch-ins into this. And it was actually the Hisuian Zoroark. Yeah. A little bit to be expected here, right? But no matter. Still does not make this game any easier. Most likely gonna Stomping Tantrum here. They're most likely gonna Terra Fire, if I'm being honest with you. So what exactly do I want to do here? They want a Powerball. I mean, if they want a Stomping Tantrum, that's fine. If they get up in Swords Dance, that's going to be a little annoying, but no matter here, right? For as great as Hatterene looks here, right? We can definitely go without it, but for the most part, I'm just going to go for the U-turn here, to be honest with you. Yep, I expected the Terra Fire. I'm going to expect a Stomping Tantrum to be coming out here. Not too much that wants to eat it, to be honest with you. If they go for a Swords Dance, then that's fine by me. They go for a Close Combat, which is very interesting. This is the case. I'm just going to go for a Close Combat of my own here. Into the Rillaboom, interestingly enough. Okay. Pretty good damage here. I do get recovery first. That is interesting. That is something to note. We are going to go for the Mach Punch. Survive on one, but that's fine by us. That is fine by us. We can go for the U-turn. We're going to go for the U-turn here. Look how free it is, and then we are immediately going to go into the Golden Go. We're going to go Golden Go here just because it kind of threatens a lot. Sneasler can't do a whole lot, and if the Hisuian Goodra wants to swap in, we can actually go ahead and go for the trick, or if the Glacier comes in, we can still go for the trick, or we can even go in the Hatterene here, which does get a Grassy Seed defense boost, so kind of have no problem. Do I want to go Hatterene? I can, right? We'll just go Golden Go here, right? I already said what I was going to do. Interesting would have been, yeah, so the Glacier comes in. Into the Hatterene we go. Into the plus defense boost, into the Terra Blast. Very nice. Go and Calm Mind. We are faster than the Glacier, which is very interesting. I'm going to go for the Psy Shock here. Into the Hisuian Goodra. Fine by us. Go ahead and go for the Draining Kiss. They are faster. Perfectly fine here, right? Good thing is that we actually do get rid of the... We do get rid of the, what's it called, grassy terrain here. So there's going to be none of that shenanigans going on. Enamor's Theory wants to come out. That's perfectly fine. Just because of multi-scale, we are going to be able to live anything the guy wants to go for. Perfectly fine here. We can easily go to our Passion Fruit here on the Mystical Fire. Fine by us. We go just go for a Sludge Wave. Oh wow, that is tanky. Let's go for Layer Spikes here, if I'm being honest with you. Perfectly fine. And then, you can easily go for the Make It Rain here. If they want to go Glacier, then that's also fine by us. Were we faster than that guy? No, either way. Either way, we just Make It Rain. Yep. They want to stay in. Perfectly fine. Wow, that is very tanky here, right? That is very tanky. But no matter. go ahead and go for the Mystical Fire here. They want to go for the Mystical Fire. That's perfectly fine by us. We can actually go Cinderace just because Earth Power is not going to pick up KO. They still want to go spam Mystical Fire. Perfectly fine. Go ahead and go for the Power Ball. Into the Glacier Air. Perfectly understandable. Go for a Swords Dance. Icicle Crash. Very interesting. And we're going to be doing the same amount of damage either way. You can go for a low kick, to be honest. 44% is pretty good damage. Post combat is going to pick up the KO right there. And then, wow, very interesting here, right? Very interesting. Okay. Either way here, Outrage is going to be enough to pick up the KO. Golden Go, it was not enough to pick up the KO, but because the Hisuian, because I'm assuming the Hisuian Sneasler is going to be Grassy Glide, and I mean Grassy Seed, and Unburden. I do expect the I do expect the Sneasler to not be full HP. I was thinking of a set where Task 4, I did think of a set where it was like very minimal speed investment with, wow, they even get the para with a bunch of HP. Just because of the Unburden boost, you're really allowed to greed HP investment, which is absolutely insane. But we come out with a win. Week 1 here, absolutely insane. We were able to go ahead and deny Unburden shenanigans. Again, I thought the Moltres would be coming. That was the biggest, I wouldn't want to say the biggest threat, but it was such a big stonewall to my team just because of its natural typing enemy. It deals with my Rillaboom pretty well. It can scare Dragonite from coming in just because of burns. Cinderace doesn't do much to it, right? And it threatens Golden Go. Very surprised that didn't come here, but no matter. I did expect the Sneasler. I did expect the Rillaboom. I did expect the Hisuian Goodra. Very good Mon. I did expect the Enamorus here. Again, the teams that I tested with included a Vaporeon and a Moltres, and then some teams kind of dropped the Vaporeon and sometimes dropped the Enamorus for something like a Scarf Magnezone or even the Hisuian Zoroark here. So I had a lot of my bases covered here. I felt very confident in the matchup, but still doesn't make it any less scarier just because when there's an Unburdened Sneasler, there's a way here, right? But either way here, we were able to come out with a dub here, right? Very happy that I was able to call out the the Hisuian Zoroark play turn 1 here, right? I was thinking, right, like Earthquake does not kill me. I am a very bulky variant of Cinderace here, so I'm perfectly fine with going ahead and just going for the Powerball and scouting here. The main question was actually going to be whether I wanted to Swords Dance on it. Specs Hisuian Zoroark, as you guys saw by the little Showdex calc, did not kill, but again, did not want to leave anything to chance. But we were able to come out once again with a dub. I am so happy that my prep paid off here. Little behind the scenes, right? This team went through a lot of variations here, right? Very intricate EV spreads. Look, this was a 21 turn win here. That does not mean this game was easier. That does not mean this prep was easy here, right? There's a lot of work, there's a lot of calculations, and there's a lot of testing that went behind this win, and including last week's win as well here, right? We're not just going to be doing 252 every week and saying let's go, right? There's going to be some intricacy, there's going to be some thought, and there's going to be some preparation to each and every single one of these matches. Glad to be 2-0, but I cannot wait for week 3. That is going to do it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to be uploading more and more here, right? But if not, then for sure, once a week, these Draft League videos are going to be coming at you guys. But like I said, that's going to do it for today, guys. See ya.